به نام خداوند بخشاینده و از شاگردان دوره اول برنامه ظرفیت سازی خانم ها. این برنامه یک چانس خوبه برای من و دیگر دختر خانم ها بود که مدت 6 ماه طول کشید و واقعا ما از این برنامه خیلی چیزهای خوب کاربردی و آموزنده را آموختیم. این برنامه توانست تا من اعتماد به نفس بالایی داشته باشم و اما استعدادهای پنهانی خود را بدانم و یک هدف در زندگی خود داشته باشم. و یک دوره عالی بود که در این دوره من زبان انگلیسی را آموختم و با مهارت‌های کامپیوتری آشنا شدم. و همچنان چیز مهمی که فهمیدم و دانستم که برای یک دختر خانم خیلی مهم و بارزش میباشه حق و حقوقش است که من به حیث یک دختر خانم فهمیدم. و بعد از 6 ماه ترنینگ که ما داشتیم امی باعث شد که ما فعالیت‌های داشته باشم و حالا ما فعالیت‌های خود در خانه آغاز کردیم و یک کورس باز کردیم که امو دخترایی که به مکتب رفتن نمیتونن مضامین مختلف تدریس کنم و واقعا شاگردانم از من خیلی راضی هستم و این کورس به ما هم مفاد مالی داشته و هم مفاد معنوی. امو مزدی که ما از شاگردان به دست میارم اینمی باعث شده تا اینکه ما امو احتیاجات خود برطرف کنم و تا جایی هم که فکر میکنم مستقل هم نیست شدیم. خب یک چیز جنبه مهم ازی که به ما واقعا زیاد مهم و با ارزش است امی است که در برنامه ظرفیت سازی خانم ها چیزایی که ما فهمیدم و دانستم کوشش میکنم که اینمی را به شاگردانم بیاموزم تا باشد که دختران باشند که یک اعتماد به نفس بالایی و یک هدف و یک امید در زندگی خود یا داشته باشند و من حیث یک دختر خانم از حق و حقوق خود یا آگاه باشند. و همچنین من از برنامه‌های کامپیوتری که دانستم و فهمیدم و بسیار کاربردی بود اینترنت بود که ما حالا با او دسترسی پیدا کردیم و میدانم این برنامه را و همین باعث شد که بعضی از اقاربای نزدیک ما طفلاشان که در خارج زندگی میکنن امیارا به شکل آنلاین مضمون دری و قرآن کریم تدریس کنم و همچنان ما بالای توانایی های خود خیلی باور دارم و با این اعتماد به نفسی که دارم انشالله که امیدوار هستم که یک روزی ما به هدف و آرزوهای خودم میرسم. ممنون از این فرصتی که برای ما ایجاد کردین و مرا به یک دختر قوی و مثبت اندیش متبدل ساختین. تشکر.
Thank you, Ali. So we do have Sadaf here in the call, and we also have Marcel, who was Sadaf's trainer in the program, and we are happy to take any questions for either my team or Sadaf and her teacher. I saw that we had one question in the chat box. The question asked, what does a day look like for a high school aged girl going to one of the learning centers for school? So specifically for our classes, we don't offer a day-long class. We only offer classes that are 3 hours long each day. Our students, we do have different timings. We can't have all the girls in one location at the same time for security issues. Of course, our students and staff safety is a high priority. So we only have between 10 to 20 girls in each class. And to accommodate the number of students that we have for our underground Tech Sheroes program, which is 110 girls, we have 3 different home-based centers, and each one of them have 3 different timings for their classes. So the girls show up to the class, form community with other girls, and they talk about the topics that are important to them, besides learning the coding skills that we have. These programs are not only a learning opportunity for these girls, but also an opportunity for them to form communities. The Taliban are trying to keep women away from socializing. They're trying to limit the resources as much as they can to make sure that women are not seen in public. And that really has impacted women and girls' psychological well-being and their mental health in general. So this is also seen as a psychosocial program for girls where they come together, form those communities, learn how to support one another, talk about very sensitive topics like mental health. Unfortunately, and I believe it's true for all communities, but mostly for traditional societies, mental health still remains a stigma. And it's hard for girls to speak up about mental health issues, even to their parents. So for girls to be able to do that with one another and have someone lead these conversations for them and to guide them through it has been amazing. And the impact that the number of these girls in our classes have in their communities when they go out to their families, they talk to their sisters, their mothers about the same topics, their friends. The word keeps going out, and we keep expanding the impact of the program through the girls that are part of our program. There's also another question. What about girls' education or all the restrictions on the things that the Taliban has enforced? What about them are against Islam? So, the definition of Islam is very different for the Taliban than it is for me as a Muslim, or for the girls that I know and the girls that we work with. Taliban are an extremist religious group, just like we have had extremist religious groups in the past in different religions and within Islamic communities. For example, Daesh or the ISIS claims to be the sole leader of the Islamic rulings in the world. They think that even the rulings that the Taliban have are not extreme enough for them. So the definition for the Taliban, for example, girls' education, the approach that they have used this time is different than the approach that they used back in the 90s when they took over. Right now, the Taliban are saying that we are not against girls' education. However, we are against the environment that girls are seeking education in. For example, the schools that girls are going. It's important to note that Afghanistan has not had co-education in the past either. Girls' schools are separate, boys' schools are all teachers for girls are female, but still it's not satisfactory enough for the Taliban. I personally believe that the problem is not with the environment, but the fact that the Taliban think that women should not be getting an education. Although, from my upbringing as a Muslim and from what I know about my religion, um, there's a very famous saying of the Prophet Muhammad, where he says, getting an education is obligatory for all men and women. So again, the definition that the Taliban have, that's the problem they have with girls' education. With, for example, the recent ban on beauty salons, the Taliban said that because plucking eyebrows is and wearing makeup is haram or impermissible in Islam, that's why the beauty salons need to close because the services go against them. But there is no verse in the Quran or any hadith from the Prophet or any saying from the Prophet that prohibits this practice. Anyway, so that's the definition of Islam for the Taliban. They use an extremist approach and try to justify the atrocities and the animosity that they have towards women in Afghanistan. There's
We have
another
another question.
Yep. I will let Shagufa take this one, or Ali, if you'd like to take this one. How much are computers available for the girls? How are older girls allowed to go to the private schools?
Well, I would say I could talk about the private school part. Shikofa, maybe you can do the computers better than I would. But I will say that the schools are basically disguising these girls to be younger. They take them to school in a school bus, just like any girl under sixth grade would go. They said that they must wear masks in the buses. They basically are only taking a limited number of girls at each time to ensure that they don't draw attention to them. All of these things are being done so that the girls can go to school and no one will notice that they're going. And then their courses that they're taking, of course, are separate from those being taken by younger students or regular students of the school so that, nobody knows that it's happening. So it's all being done very carefully.
Yes, about the computers. For private schools, Mukhtar, that we have computer classes. We have students around 20 to 25 is one class computer for each students have their own. It says schools provides the computer. We're not providing for them. The school has the computer because they had from before the Taliban. So they have the space and class and with the computer. For if we have more students, like let's say if we have 40 students, we will make like time difference with them, like in the morning 20 students and then afternoon another 20 students or 25 students. Yeah.
And for our IT and coding classes, because we provided the centers, we created these 3 home-based centers. We are providing laptops for the girls. Each center has 10 laptops, and because girls attend these classes in different timings, they all have access to one computer while they're in class. Sometimes maybe if let's say we have 15 students in one class, they might have to share one computer, but mostly each student can use a computer during the class. And since Marcel and Sadaf are here, maybe they can take the next question, or if they want to add to the answers that we are providing. Don't the Taliban need female doctors for their wives and daughters? Peggy, that's a great question.
Fabulous question.
They do need female doctors for their wives and daughters. However, they don't want female doctors in the society. It's important that one of the areas where the Taliban, even in the first period when they took over and they were way more extremist than they are right now, the only field that was untouched and women could still work in was the medical field. But the medical school for girls are still closed down. So just imagine they're okay with having female doctors, but if they don't have female university students in the medical faculty, how are they going to have those doctors? A lot of these women in the first, and this is true for the first era of the Taliban as well, back in the 90s, some of them are trained nurses. There are short-term nursing programs that women attend. Some of them are midwives who end up working at the hospitals as doctors, although they're not medical doctors. So that's how they still allow women to be in the medical field. Unfortunately, the medical school is still closed for women as well.
And that's one reason why this whole thing is so dangerous for women, is because imagine if you had to give birth and every other woman in your country had to give birth and they didn't have a doctor who could see them, because the number of doctors that exist will continue to dwindle if they don't educate new doctors. And women can't be seen by a man doctor in their country.
Yeah. Anisha has another great question. She's asking what programs need most funding and how can they support the programs? I would say any organization that's currently working in Afghanistan, any of those programs do need funding. As for Sahar, we do have a campaign coming up on July 12th in partnership with Global Giving. It's a matching campaign where any donation of more than $100 will be matched up to 50% by Global Giving. And we are, for that program, we are accepting donations for our Stealth Sisters program. And we also have our coding program, because we are planning on extending the program for a second round. We are trying to raise funds for those programs as well. If that's something you would like to support, I would say the best time to do that would be July 12th, because your donations can be matched and can have a bigger impact.
Yes. There's also another question. It says, are there any other industries where women are still working?
Yes, Anisha, business is an industry where women are still working, although the Taliban have at least stated that we don't have problems with women working in businesses. And their justification to that is because the Prophet's wife, Prophet Muhammad's wife, was a businesswoman herself, and the Prophet used to work for her. That's why it's allowed in Islam for women to have businesses. However, They are limiting women's travel without a male companion. They are really trying to keep women away from the society, from interacting with men. So for them to say that they are okay with women, with business women, but at the same time keeping them away from all these opportunities that can improve their business is really, they go against one another. They're very contradictory. But women who are currently pursuing smaller businesses from their homes or working for certain factories, they're allowed to work as well. But that comes with a lot of intimidation, sometimes being stopped on the way to work, and with all that fear.
I think that would be a great question
Marcel,
if I was gonna say if Sadaf wanted to answer maybe about how it is for her running her own business, maybe.
yeah, I think that's great. Sadaf John, do you mind sharing a little with us about the online classes that you're running and also the in-person home-based classes that you have for your students? And if you wish to answer in Farsi, maybe Mursal John, Shigufa, or I can translate that as well. Sadaf John, شما هستین؟
بله صدای من داره؟
بله میشنم Sadaf John. So
سلام
Ali,
علیکم.
سلام صدف جان. اگر کمی در مورد صنف‌های خانگی که شما به شاگردایتان درس میدین برای ما بگوین که چطور صنف‌ها را پیش میبرین. If you can speak to that in English, that'd be great. If not, we can also translate.
خب میتونم خود تا جای انگلیسی صحبت کنم اما فارسی صحبت کنم بهتر از بخاطر که زیادتر خوبتر روانتر میخوام با کتان صحبت داشته باشه. خب اگه مشکل نباشه.
Sadaf would prefer, she can try speaking and answering that question in English, but because she wants to be more comfortable and give us all of the details, she prefers speaking in Farsi. Mursal John, do you mind interpreting it for us? Mursal John, you there? It's okay. Shigufa, do you want to
Hello
go ahead
everyone.
and translate?
Oh,
there we go, Mursal.
Hello everyone. My name is the trainer of Women Empowerment Workshop. I'm very happy to be here, and I would like to thank all the Sahar education team for providing such an opportunity for Afghan girls here in Afghanistan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mursal John. Sadaf is going to share her experience, and if you can help us with translation, that would be great. And if not, then Shigufa and I can take over as well. Sadaf John, please.
Okay.
مام صدف هستم، یک تن از شاگردای دوره اول ظرفیت سازی خانم ها. و بعد از اینکه من 6 ماه را تمام کردم، اولش واقعا خیلی جگرخون شدم که چرا تمام شد. واقعا برام خیلی سخت تمام شد. و بعد از اینکه تمام کردم واقعا خواستم چیزایی که یاد گرفتیم گفتم باید یک فعالیت داشته باشم. این نمیشه که من دست سر دست بشینم، چون من یاد داشتم دیگه، یاد گرفته بودم. باز خواستم کمی دور پیش ما دخترایی که به مکتب رفتن نمیتونن یا را درس بدم. هم که اطلاعیه پخش کردم و وارم خیلی خرسند و خوشحال شدن واقعا از این پیشنهادی که من کدوم ازشان. باز یا
تشکر صدف جان. مرسال جان امیره ترجمه کنن باز ادامه بدن.
Okay. Sadaf was one of our trainees from the previous program, and she was one of our talented student. And she said that she is very happy that she joined that program, and that was a great opportunity for her and for also for her parents. Now, after finishing that program, she started online classes. Also, she teach girls from her home. And as she learned computer subject, after this, she can now use the computer and to teach the foreigners through online. صدف ادامه بده.
خب اینا رو من دختره رو داخل خانه ما درس میدم، اما مضامینی که در کورس آموخته بودم، اما انگلیسی، اما مضامینی که میخواین اونا رو تدریس میکنم. و از برنامه کامپیوتر چیزایی که از برنامه کامپیوتر آموختم از طریق از او بخصوص امو استفاده از اینترنت طریقاش که آموختم اینا رو من میتونم که مو بعضی از اقاربای ما که در خارج از کشور زندگی میکنن اونا رو من درس میتم قرآن شریف درس میتم امرا با دری و دیگه
أما قصدك
باش مقدم
also Sadaf added that she studied 3 subjects in woman empowerment workshop, English subject, computer subject, as well as woman empowerment workshop. Now she used that lessons to teach our relatives who live out of the country, and she teach those her relatives Quran subject as well as Dari Persian, and also she teach girls from her home. There are I think 20 girls that she teach from their home, and all of them are girls, and she teach those girls. Yes.
How do you feel that your current situation was impacted by being in the Sahar program? Like, what do you think that your future would have been like if you hadn't entered compared to how it is now?
صدف جان به
همین
برنامه بگوین.
خواهش میکنم مرسل جان بفرمایید.
شما بفرمایین خانم مترا.
صدف جان فعلا کار را که شما میکنین چقدر از تاثیرات برنامه سحر بوده که شما درش اشتراک داشتین و اگه این برنامه نمی بود به نظرت آل مصروف چی کار می بودی یا این
واقعا بر من اقدر مفید تمام شده اقدر که من در طول 11 سال که در مکتب درس خواندم واقعا یک از شاگردای بودم که اصلا کورس نرفته بودم چی کامپیوتر و چی انگلیسی. این برنامه انقدر به من مفید تمام شد اعتماد به نفس داشتم خیلی اما جاش نبود دیگه تو مشکلاتی که داشتیم نمیتونستم کورس برم اما زیاد علاقه داشتم. این کورس به من واقعا باعث شد که من کورس برم علاقه که داشتم همون چیزی که میخواستم برسم و رفتم و تا جای کوششم کردم یاد گرفتم اینمی زیادتر بر من باعث شد که من پس شاگرد درس بدم.
So what Sadaf does now was directly impacted by this. It was a direct impact of the program that she participated in. And Sadaf says that the 11 years of her schooling, when she went to a formal school, wasn't as beneficial as the 6 months of training because of the topics and curriculum that she learned through this program. Usually in our schools, unfortunately, and this is not what Sahar said, this is not Sadaf's quote, but usually being educated in the Afghan educational system, we're not taught to think critically, we're not taught to be creative, we just have to go and learn those school subjects and memorize them, and that's what we write down in our exam sheets when we do it. So this program really, Sadaf says, gave her the opportunity to think out of the box and be creative. And the fact that she is teaching these classes now, she always wanted to be in learning centers but couldn't attend. And this program really gave her that opportunity to dream for herself. Just for the sake of the time and because we are 12 minutes over time, I want to respect everyone's time who participated. If there are any other questions, we're happy to take it. Mursal John and Sadaf, thank you so much for giving us that insight. We'll take any other questions if you have any. If not, we'll wrap up the meeting. And we are going to do these meetings on a quarterly basis. So please look out for another email from us in a few months for the next round. I see Peter has his hand up, so we'll take that question, Peter.
Yes, you mentioned that the Department of Education might be taking some applications for some type of a university for those students who had completed 12th grade. Who are those students if they cannot get a public education past 6th grade? How are they able to continue to 12th grade and apply to the university? Right.
So these are the girls who were wrapping up their 12th grade when the Taliban took over in 2021. The girls who have completed 12th grade back then, And what the Taliban did last year was that although students weren't allowed to come to school or to study, most of them didn't even have the books. However, the Taliban made an announcement a month before the time period when final exams take place and said that girls who were supposed to be in 12th grade this year can start preparing at home, and we are going to give them the exam sheets for 12th grade. And if they pass, then they get a high school diploma. So girls started studying at home, did homeschooling, and then came and took the exam. My mother-in-law is a high school teacher, and when she talked to me about it, she was very sad and very disheartened to see how these girls ran to school just for those 7 or 8 days when they could take the exams. And she was so sad to see that even the smartest of the students in the class didn't have a clue of what they were going to write in their exam papers because they weren't allowed to go to school. So really the rulings that the Taliban have been issuing and the opportunities that they think they're giving women are very contradictory, just like it's the same story as the business women's story, where they're like, we're okay with women being in business, but you have no venue to promote your business. You don't talk to men and all that. But yeah, these exams are going to be for the girls who took the exams for the 12th grade without even being in the class.
And next year, and the following year, who will be the students able to continue in the university? Anybody or?
We don't know yet, Peter, unfortunately, because I'm personally not even sure that the girls who are going to take the entrance exam for the universities, it's a national entrance exam that every student has to take back home in Afghanistan. I'm not even sure if they will be allowed to go to university, even if they pass that exam, because the universities are closed for women. So really, we'll just have to wait and watch and see how all of this unfolds. And to see if this is something that the Taliban are really willing to do, or if they're just pretending to want to do it.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you, Peter. Are there any other questions for any of us? Anisha, if boys are allowed to study, if he has a sister, he could come home and teach her theoretically. Yes, that's a possibility, and that's exactly why we are going to resume our Men as Partners in Change program to work with men and encourage them to educate their sisters, even if that means informal homeschooling for them, or if there are other homeschool opportunities for girls to go. We're just really trying to work with men because in most societies, the decisions for family are made by men. So we're really trying to encourage men to support the girls in their home, in their household, to get an education, even if it's informal, or even if that means that the brother himself helps the sister get educated.
Great question. We have another question here. It says, how do girls qualify to study at the center? Is there a waiting list?
So our implementing partners, they announce the program through their networks and they accept applications. Students then take a placement test, and depending on whether they qualify to be in the program, they're recruited. And yes, the students do go on waitlist sometimes because we do have limited capacity and limited funds for these programs. When we have let's say, next round of the program starting, the administrators reach out to the students in the wait list, and they are the first ones who can get into the program if they're still willing to. And if we still have more students to recruit, then they go out in public again through their networks and announce the application for programs. And what really has made it possible is the fact that we have really used more of a community school approach. So the teachers, students, and the home-based centers are all in the same community. They're from the same community. It really has, to some extent, given us confidence when it comes to safety of our students, and also the connections that people have in communities with one another really enables us to be able to recruit those students comfortably. All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for being here. And I really want to thank my team and our our partners, our students, and our community and supporters in general who have really made the work happen. We wouldn't be able to achieve what we have achieved without your support, and we really hope to stay in touch. And again, like I said, we will be doing more of these meetings with more updates as we go through with our programs. And hopefully next time when we meet, we will have one of our students from our NPC program as well, I hope. And yeah, if there are any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us. Ali, Shigufa, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions. If you would like for us to meet individually with me or with one of my team members to ask more questions, again, we're happy to do so. Please do let us know.
Yeah, I'll be sending all of you an email. So if you want to just reply to that email, if you have any further questions, or if you want to have a personal meeting, feel free to do that.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. And thank you for all that you do for us.